What's going on? Welcome to another episode of the Popcorn People Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, we are going to break down the 29th Annual Critics' Choice Award nominations. And throughout breaking these down, we're going to break down some of our own ballots and reveal some of our picks from the show as well. As always, I'm joined by my fellow Critics' Choice member, Mr. Dom Fisher. How are you, bud?
Yeah, I'm saying it's good. I'm good. It's a good Sunday. Is that a Aquaman Yeti tumbler you're drinking out of? Why, yes, it is. It is Aquaman. Whatever the new one's called, the Lost Kingdom. Yeah, man. I can never remember. No,
isn't it like the Lost Sea Turtle or something like that? I don't know.
No, look, legitimately, like this one, I don't have high hopes for, but it does look a million times better than the first one.
I mean, anything can be better than the first one.
Yeah, and Yaya being the focus, I'm excited for. We see it on Wednesday. I don't know if you're going.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, in 3D. I don't know how I feel about 3D. I don't know.
That's my biggest thing with us seeing it on Wednesday. I really don't want to see it in 3D. I don't love 3D movies. The only one that's really like recently, like Avatar, we saw in 3D, and that was really cool in 3D. But even then, I'm still like, I really just don't. I don't care about 3D enough to really feel like
I want a 3D for something that's kind of like not serious, like a B horror movie, or something. I feel like that's when 3D is.
Did you ever watch Talk to Me yet?
Yeah.
Could you imagine like that as like I could see that as a 3D? You know what I mean? Like you're sitting in the chair and the thing pops out of you.
Yeah,
like make me jump out of my chair. You know what I mean? Like I'm not excited at all about seeing it in 3D. Like I have very, very low expectations for Aquaman and the Lost Sea Turtle, but like 3D is already hindering my expectations even like lower for it. But I don't know. I don't go into the presumption that it's going to be bad or good or anything like that. I just don't have high expectations. I hope it's entertaining. That's all I really want it to be. Give me a solid 2.5-star movie. That's all I want.
I mean, they got to go out big, right? Because this is the last time that Jason Momoa is playing Aquaman, supposedly. So
I'm sure I'll have another character, and maybe possibly in James Gunn. He's friends with James. As long as you're friends with James Gunn, bro, like you're set for life, dog. Like you got. And I mean, I ain't mad at him. Everybody's like all criticizing James Gunn for that, and I'm like, why? Like everybody does that.
Everybody does that. I saw that too the other day, and I was like, Adam Sandler does that. Martin Scorsese does that. Like Coppola, they all do that. Like that's the whole. I mean, I feel like that's the point. Like if I was a director, producer, casting, and my homies are like popping, or even if they're halfway decent, like, hey, I got you. Like we're gonna find you some little spot, even if it's something small. Like, yeah, they tripping.
Yeah, it's insane to me. Absolutely insane.
And James Gunn's brother is good, so.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed him in the scenario, but All right, folks, without further ado, the 29th Annual Critics' Choice Awards announced their nominations this past week. The show is going to be on January 14th on the CW network. Dom and I will be there in person. Very, very excited about that. We're going to have some fun, do some excursions, maybe even do like a live podcast together there. We got some stuff cooking. You know what I mean? You never know what could pop up on the Popcorn People podcast here. But that being said, we're going to go over some of the big categories, what we see, what happened, and then we're going to give some thoughts, share some picks of ours of the nominees. I feel like we can have some fun with this. Maybe talk about other couple of categories where Dom has a problem with a couple of categories. You know what I mean? So we'll let him have the floor. And I have a bone to pick with Critics' Choice members too, because there's no Iron Claw. So that just really continues to hurt my heart. But that being said, we're going to do the old share my screen here, and I'm going to figure out how to do it without, let's see here, sharing screen. Let's go. First try today, Dom. First try. There we go. We're going to share the screen. We are shared. Look at that. This looks way better than it does on Zoom because I can actually see you and the nominations. So like this worked better than the show that I think we did on Wednesday or whatever it was. But yeah, so obviously the Best Picture nominees are in. We have American Fiction, Barbie, The Color Purple, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and Saltburn. For Critics' Choice, we had to enter our nominees and our picks. What we had to do was we had to enter 5. We had 5 picks that we could submit into the Critics' Choice ballots. And then, of course, the rest of the categories, we only got to do 3. So when it came down to it, you really had to hone in and pick some of your favorites of your favorites, right? You know what I mean? It was definitely a hard go because
we also had to put the things we like the most at the top.
Yes.
And then like points wise, and then going down.
Exactly. So Dom, talk the Best Picture category here. Oh, hang on. We got a comment. Ricky's pick, Iron Hall. Well, that's true. Look, don't worry about my pick. Yes, the actual pick, the Iron Claw, and then Fast 10 is a banger. I don't care what anybody says. It's a banger. It should be on this list, not Best Picture, but I don't even think I got Best Action. So actually, Jason Momoa's best performance of his career came in Fast X. So there's no lies there. But Dom, tell me your thoughts on this category. Tell me your thoughts on what you think the picture was, and maybe reveal a nomination or 2 from your book there.
So yeah, it's a solid list. I mean, we briefly talked about before. I think a lot of these films were on both of our lists. The one outlier for me was Saltburn, which I think Saltburn is a good movie. I do like it, but is it Best Picture worthy? I don't believe so. I do think Iron Claw could have slipped in there. Hell, I mean, I know the movie didn't get a push, but I think They Clone Tyrone could have, had an argument if Saltburn has an argument. But yeah, so I mean, I think all the ones that I have put in mind are on there. I'm having a tough time settling on what my final pick is going to be. I'm kind of stuck in between. I'm really stuck in between like 3, and it comes down to almost like, for me, importance. Like, okay, if the movie's great, but what does it mean to the greater society? Almost to me, like which one is going to have the most, or which one had the most impact? Yeah, They Clone Tyrone. Look, it ain't getting no love and it needs to, and it's on one of my lists. Damn it! And people weren't thinking about it. Maybe I should have fucking been out here championing it, but like I thought people knew. I thought it was, it was one of those ones. But yeah, I'm gonna have to do some rewatches. I just rewatched Saltburn again. I rewatched Poor Things, and Poor Things keeps like lingering there for me. And Maestro, it's hard to ignore Maestro. I feel like it's done. It's made so well. And you can find, every time you watch it again, you can find a shot that tells the story a little bit differently every time. So it's like, how much does the screenplay have an impact? How much does the cinematography have an impact? How much does like the aesthetics, like Poor Things, have an impact? It's gonna be tough, but I will say Poor Things, Maestro, and The Color Purple are the ones kind of I'm fighting over. And American Fiction's almost in that talk too, but it's hard. It's really hard, man. What about you?
Yeah, so this category, 4 of my 5 picks ended up in this. So that makes everything harder because sometimes when you are on the surface, you're really looking at this and you're like, all right, what do I do? Okay, do I go? But because maybe you narrow the list down to 2 or 3. Now, I'll be honest, I probably already have an inkling of an idea of where I'm going to go here. and everybody that follows me across the board should probably have an inkling of an idea of where I'm going to go here. And Past Lives is my favorite movie of the year. It's been my number one movie of the year this entire year. I love Past Lives. It's the only movie in 2023 that I gave 5 stars. I typically every year there's a couple of them, but Past Lives is the only movie that I've given 5 stars to this year. So Past Lives probably going to be my pick. But the thing about it is I'm with you when it comes down to importance. I feel like with Past Lives, I will give it the nod here for picture, and then I can have the conversation elsewhere, because to me, a film that I love quite a bit that keeps rising up my rankings every time I think about it is American Fiction. Mm-hmm. I love that movie so much, and I feel like it's just a film that's really strong. Maestro's here. That's in my top. That's one of my top 3. And then of course, I love Barbie, man. Barbie's just, man, it's just, and that impact you say is something that's very important whenever you come down to thinking about Best Picture and how you feel about it. Like, we're not projecting a movie that has to have a message. No, but at the same time, it has a message and it meant something for us or meant something for how we feel about things. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we're not just saying it because of this or that, but definitely a hard category. Obviously, if you haven't figured out, the movie that's not on this list that made my top 5 was definitely The Iron Claw, which I'm still very mad about. And I will probably yell about that, especially as we move on to the next category, which is Best Actor. Bradley Cooper, Maestro, Leonardo DiCaprio, Killers of the Flower Moon, Coleman Domingo, Rustin, Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction. Now, this is a category I think I know where I'm going to go, but also I don't know where I'm going to go, because to me it's very top heavy. DiCaprio is not on the board for me, and I'm not going to tell you I'm going to vote for today, guys. But Coleman Domingo, I love him quite a bit. I don't think that he's going to be in the conversation. Giamatti is definitely not in the conversation. Oppenheimer is a film I've been wanting to revisit for quite a while, and I just haven't had the chance.
Because it's long as shit.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, when you want to sit down and rethink your picks, when you don't have it, like for Best Picture, I have it ironed out because you have the conversation there, because Past Lives is my favorite film of the year. Right. However, Bradley Cooper is probably one of my favorite performances of the year. But to say that I feel so strongly about him that I'm going to vote for him, I have to rewatch American Fiction, and I have to rewatch Oppenheimer, because those 2 performances also are very strong. And my picks in this category were 2 of the 3 in this category made the category, which was Bradley Cooper for Maestro and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction. The person that didn't make the list was Zac Efron for the fucking Iron Claw. So that was the only one that really missed the boat for me, but that's how I'm at it right now. So if you think about it, so Bradley Cooper made it, Jeffrey Wright made it. Again, we only had 3 picks. If I had 5, Cillian Murphy's in that conversation, but he's definitely in the conversation now. And I really feel like it's a 3-legged race between those 3 guys. I have to rewatch all 3 in order to get a better idea of where I'll be voting soon. But Don, break down the category for us.
So I'm with you on Zac Efron. He was on my list, didn't make it, unfortunately. I also think that he wasn't on my list, but because I thought he was going to make it. I feel like we missed Adam Driver for Ferrari. He could have replaced Giamatti. And again, I love Paul. I think he did good in the movie, but these performances supersede what he was able to, or what that script was able to provide Paul to execute. But I think since I saw this movie, Coleman Domingo is, for me, the one that these other films got to beat. I will eventually watch a few of these over again. I think Bradley Cooper's a close second. But I don't know if I'm going to budge off Coleman. Leonardo, I think that when you really look back at Killers, it's such a ensemble performance that there's not one really that sticks out that hard. There's moments. And I think that's possibly what we're going to have to do when we have like the names sitting in front of us, is go back into each film, and not necessarily watch every film, but like what part of that performance is stuck out? Which was that one scene or those two scenes that really sold what they were trying to do, and that's probably what's going to help make that decision. But you have people like, I mean, Jeffrey Wright, Killian, Coleman, and Bradley. I mean, those guys, they were like the 100% of the movie, 90% of the movie, they're on the screen. Paul, I mean, he gets some of the scenes stolen by the young lad and Divine. So, like, you know, it's kind of easy to kind of X that out. Yeah, it's for me. Like I said, for me, it's the Coleman show, and we'll see if anybody's able to climb above them. But it's gonna be tough. I have to see if I can get another cry in for Maestro or something.
Best act, I tell you what, I feel like best actress. I feel like if I'm going to throw this out here, but I really feel like you got this one locked in on one specific performance. I'm just going to throw it out here. I could be wrong, but I already feel like where I know your head's going to be on this one. But
probably
for this particular category, I went a whopping 2 for 3, 2 out of 3. I went 2 out of 3 for this category. I did Greta Lee for Past Lives, which I am so enamored to see her here. But you have Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall, Greta Lee for Past Lives, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, Margot Robbie for Barbie, and Emma Stone for Poor Things. Now, I threw a shot in the dark for this one because I felt like top to bottom, there's 2 performances on here that I really love and that are very, very strong that come in the form of Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall, Emma Stone for Poor Things. Emma Stone for Poor Things is one that I for sure thought was going to get in, so I left her out of my top 3. Didn't feel great about it. But I did put Tiana Taylor for 1001 in my predictions or in my submissions. I do think it's one of my favorite performances of the year. It was a performance that I was hoping that would get recognized. It's one that I wish would be recognized more because genuinely it's one of, if not the best. It should be in the conversation for best actress performance of 2023. It's such a phenomenal film and such a phenomenal performance. Tiana Taylor just blew me away in that film, and I felt like I needed to at least put her on my ballot because of how good it is. And she might not be in my personal top 3, but I feel like we have the opportunity to put somebody on our ballot and really hope that it ramps the numbers up. And Tiana Taylor is definitely in my 5, and she should definitely be in this conversation. But this one's going to be hard for me. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I love 5 of these 6. I love 5 of the 6 performances, and the other one is good. Lily Gladstone, I thought was good in Killers of the Flower Moon, and I know that's controversial to say. I know everybody loves Killers of the Flower Moon. I am not a Killers of the Flower Moon lover. I will not watch the film again just because I don't feel the necessary need to watch it again. I got what I needed from it the first time I watched it. Anatomy of a Fall. I'm telling you what, I'm going to have to rewatch all 5 of these movies. Anatomy of a Fall. Sandra Hüller's electric in that film. Greta Lee, Past Lives. I would watch that every day of the week if I could. The one thing I will say, where I'm at 1A right now, 1A, if I had to pick right this second, it'd probably be Carey Mulligan for Maestro. That film is nothing without her.
That's true.
As good as Bradley Cooper is in front of the camera, as good as the rest of the ensemble is in that film, as good as the direction is, as good as the score, the production, everything, it does not work without Carey Mulligan. And that to me is why I feel like she's in that 1A category. And then, of course, next up, you're talking Margot Robbie for Barbie. Again, she is Barbie, period. You cannot tell me anybody in this world that could have played that role as good as she did with the care that she did. It was magnificent what she did in that performance. And then, of course, Emma Stone for Poor Things, a film that I can't wait to revisit because that performance is so strong. Emma Stone is not only one of the best working actresses, she's one of our best actresses I think we've ever seen. Yeah. She's so good in everything that she does. And it just proved it in this insane performance, insane film that probably shouldn't work the way that it does, but it is a knockout of a film. Dom, where's your head at right here for this category?
I'm very similar. I love Lily Gladstone as a person. I love her. It's like she has like a certain calm that she brings to every character that's almost like it's so natural, and I think that's why she's getting so much love. But I also like them. One of the first things I said in my review it's first thing I wrote, should I say? But it's at the bottom of the review. She didn't have enough screen time for me. That's the only issue. If she was going for supporting, boom, she's on there. But best actress, it's just not there for me. So when you said Margot Robbie is Barbie, I was like, you know what? You're right. I mean, she was made for this role, and I've always been a huge fan, and I just feel like she's always in films and don't get the love, or she gives a performance in a movie that isn't as good as her performance was. So of course she falls by the wayside. And then she finally gets the one where, yo, like, this is it. Like, this is gonna be the one. And it's almost to the point where if you don't win this time, you might just be nominated, and that's gonna be your thing. 8-time nomination, but you know, it might not have the win that you want. Emma Stone is where, like, she's that performance. That performance is so crazy. I can't wait for like a wide range of people to see that film, because I believed exactly what the story was telling us about how what was done to her and how she's progressing. It's fucking nuts. And she fully commits, like, in every way possible. She commits, and I mean, it's hard to ignore that. I did love Greta Lee. Past Lives, like, I did wait for a long time to watch it, which is kind of good for me because it was right before all this comes out, and she was on my list. Sandra was on my list. Emma was on my list. And that made a fall. I remember watching the trailer. I wanted to see the movie. I was like, I gotta see that. And then finally watching it, I was like, it's one of those ones where it's so engrossing that you see the subtitles and then they disappear, and you're like, do I understand a different language? Because I feel like I don't see the subtitles anymore. It's crazy. And that's a testament to her performance and everyone else involved in that film. Carrie, I mean, a lot of it too is the direction, and her performance is nuts. It is nuts. There's one shot in particular from, like, it's a walking away scene, and it feels like to the average person probably watching that's gonna watch the film, that's like, what was the big deal? And it was because it was just not too long, but longer than you would expect, and that spoke volumes to that scene and all the stuff that's happening to the side, like having this still quiet exit and then all these things going on the side. It's great. But yeah, I think you might have fucked me up with DeMarco when you said that shit about Margot. I was leaning heavy Emma Stone, but Barbie is a cultural phenomenon, legitimately. No bullshit. I mean, this was generations of people who love Barbie, who looked up to Barbie, who, you know, it's a way of life almost, and she got to embody that and did a phenomenal job. So it's gonna be shit. Why the fuck you say that? It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. It's harder than I thought. Damn it.
What's up, Leah? Yeah, dude, this category, I'm telling you, it's probably the hardest. It's probably the hardest for me. It really is. It's one of the hardest categories for me. just because I feel like I have to rewatch 5 of these 6 films to really get a better understanding of where my head's at for it. So definitely a hard category. Supporting actor. I'm going to be completely on the surface here. This is honestly right off the bat down to 2 performances for me. But nominees were Sterling K. Brown for American Fiction, Robert De Niro, Killers of the Flower Moon, Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling for Barbie, Charles Melton for May December, Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things. Best supporting actor. I got 2 of my 3 picks in this category. Exactly, Leo. The actress is stacked. It's stacked, and it's hard to really formulate your own vote because of how good the performances are. And I just go back to this for just a second. Like, if you really look at the depth of all 6 of these, even not being a fan of Killers of the Flower Moon, but the definitive performance of the film obviously is Gladstone and what she brings to the table for what she's bringing to her family and the representation and all that. Like, it's really meaningful. So like each of these films have a different layered impact. Whether it's Poor Things, you have this performance that just is out of this world in this world that Yorgos builds. Robbie giving this career-defining reshape of a woman that, you know, has been held in many children's and adults' hands for many years. You have Carey Mulligan, who certifiably carries a film that's not even a film. That's a film about her, but not about her character. Greta Lee, you know, Past Lives, and then Sandra Hüller just electric in this whodunit style. It's stacked. It's incredibly insane. But back to supporting actor real quick. The one that didn't make it for me that should have made it is, and you could have really left off, I don't know, Robert Downey Jr. You could have left off Robert De Niro. You could have left off definitely Charles Melton. Mark Ruffalo, I really like that performance, but it's definitely Coleman Domingo for me in The Color Purple.
Yeah.
A performance I don't feel like is getting enough love in this award season. I do think The Color Purple played to the fact of it playing so late. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of people that didn't see the film, which always really bothers me when it comes to critics groups, because I really feel like you should give an opportunity for your entire voting body to see everything. It's not always about who's first. And that's the thing with some of the critics groups. And I'm not knocking and I'm not criticizing or anything. I'm just saying personally, I feel like if you have a voting body that's spread out across the board, you should really have the opportunity to see 95% of the films that are presented in front of you. You know what I mean? Nobody's ever going to see 100%. I didn't see every film. I try my best to see everything I can. I'm over 200 films that I've watched this year that are 2023 releases. But the thing about it is, at the end of the day, there's certain films, and maybe you can blame Warner Brothers. I definitely blame A24 for how it staggered the release of the Iron Claw. If the Iron Claw debuts at a film festival, I do think that the Iron Claw is in the conversation more here because it's truly an electric film that deserves all the love in the world. But we're having conversations about films that really, to me, again, I love Robert Downey Jr. I think he's very good in Oppenheimer. I like Robert De Niro. I think he's fine. I think he plays a character we've seen before in Killers of the Flower Moon with him. Charles Melton, whatever. I thought the performance was that great. I think it's actually objectively bad, but that's just me. To me, there's such strong performances that we're really just missing the boat here in the supporting category that really just rough. I mean, think about it at the end of the day, like William Dafoe in Poor Things to me is better than these 3 other performances on this conversation. You know what I mean? Like, if we're talking Anatomy of a Fall, I understand the Academy is afraid of little kids, but Milo Machado Grainer, he's incredible in Anatomy of a Fall. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like Glenn Howerton in Blackberry, John McGarwin, Past Lives. Like, I could go on and on about supporting performances that didn't get the love here that I feel like it deserved. But to me, this comes down to 2 of my picks from my ballot. That's Sterling K. Brown. That's Ryan Gosling and Barbie. 2 very good performances, 2 very different performances. At that, Sterling K. Brown, I don't think gets enough credit. I love that he's on this ballot because he's been ignored by a lot of people. But if you watch this film, you see what Sterling K. brings to this film. Early in this film, it is a very sad movie. Very, very sad. It's crazy to think that you think of American Fiction, you think funny, you think satire, but you miss the boat of it being also very sad. I think that plays well into Cord Jefferson's absolutely electric screenplay that I think is personally one of my favorites of the year. But when you're on the paper here, Sterling K. Brown infuses this film with a sigh of relief. You know what I mean? He is the breath of fresh air. You know what I mean? Jeffrey Wright has this satire, but also very personal style performance to the role. Is very serious, but also very. It's funny, but in a funny in how he delivers his lines. He's not trying to be funny, but he also kind of type of thing. But with Sterling K. Brown, he is literally, when he comes on your screen, you're just like, okay, I could breathe again. It's like you get that sigh of relief, and not a bad way, but in a strong way, and in this just beautiful and profound way. And I love that he's here. And then you have Ryan Gosling, you have Ken, you have a film that when I first saw the film, I was like, this is a good performance, but is it really that? And then you watch it and you're like, that was hard. And I know there's so many people that this is one thing that I've been wanting to rant on for a while. And the movie is called Barbie. Yes, 100%. And I understand that. But I don't think people understand the impact that Ken had being in this movie. You know, I've got a 13-year-old stepson that was enamored to watch Barbie because of Ken. You know what I mean? Yep. He was excited to see it because of Ken. He goes around singing, "I'm just Ken." You know, he loves it. He wants the "I am Knuff" hoodie. You know, like this film is very cultural, impactful for women and little girls, as it should be for generations to come. But I do think Ryan Gosling's portrayal here opens the door to so much as well. And I think that blend between impactful and it's just a damn good performance. It's so good. And it's not an easy performance at all because you have a balance of funny, you have a balance of serious, and then of course you got to sing. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's phenomenal. So that was a lot, and that was a mouthful. Sorry.
No, I think you're 100%. Like Ryan Gosling, like, so the whole big thing, but you know, of course, when any film comes out and it's not exactly what people expected it to be or want it to be, they call it woke, and they're like, they're just bashing men. Another film bashing men. No, like you, at some point. We have to evolve as people. We have to go, hey, the thought processes, the actions, the way we move might have been wrong. And that's what he gives in that performance. He goes, you know, oh, I've lived a certain way. Let me try this way. And then it comes to find out like, oh, like maybe this is wrong too. Like where's my place? And that's what you feel sometimes. You feel like, what is my role? What is my place? Like, what are these gender roles? Are they real? Are they not real? Like, how does this all play into a social construct? And that's why the movie is so impactful to a lot of people, because it plays with that. And if they don't know, it was written by a husband and wife duo. Like there's this, it's not just a woman saying, I hate men. There was a man there who had just as much say and input into writing this film as well. So, you know, it is what it is. People are going to think what they want to think, but those are the facts. Look, if anybody watching this, Leo, if you know, I want to know why Charles Melton is on this list. Because, I mean, you might know too. Why is he on here? Even if you love this movie,
people literally not only love this movie, dude. People think that he gave the best performance of the year. That's why he's on this list.
I don't get it. One of mine didn't make it on this list, which is Dominic Sessa from The Holdovers. I thought he, besides Divine, was a super standout in this movie. I mean, one of my, which is not really him doing it, but one of my favorite scenes in that film is when he runs on the gym floor and he's not supposed to, and then he hits the trampoline or the pole, whatever it is that he hit. And for that was hilarious to me. But that kid is good. I don't know why he is not on there and Charles is, but you know, I'm not a Charles hater. I fuck with Charles. I fuck with you, dog. But like, not in this one. I don't. Yeah, but you're right. Sterling. I think what Sterling does, every single thing I've seen Sterling in, he delivers his lines with like a thud, if that makes sense, like a soft thud. Like, I said what I said. There was no mistaking what I said. You heard what I said, type of vibe. And sometimes he does it smooth. Sometimes he does it in like a forceful, furious way. And sometimes it's just like, what are you gonna do about it? And that's why he's so good. And he has this like inviting charisma where you think like he's your friend, and you're like, oh man, yeah, me and Sterling. And then you're like, oh, he don't know me. He don't. But if he did, I think we'd be friends. I hope. But yeah, I mean, Robert's good. Robert was on my list. I do like. I went back and was watching some clips, some scenes, and I just loved how he was getting driven crazy throughout the film. He really wanted to prove his point, and watching it all kind of come crumbling down on him was really, really enjoyable for me. Love Robert De Niro. Like I said, it's an ensemble performance. I don't, like I say, I don't know if he is that, if it's that of a forceful performance to be on here. He was a complete asshole and a snake in the grass and all the above in his film. And I think maybe that's why he ended up on the list, is because that character is just such a like, it's real fucked. I mean, it's real fucked up. The whole like, you know, he's a Karen essentially. Hey man, yeah, I love you. Call the police. Like, or actually kill him. Like, I don't know. Ruffalo, I think Ruffalo belongs on here. But yeah, like you said, Defoe, and I had like when I first saw Ruffalo, I was like, man, why didn't they? Maybe we should just have both of them on here, because both of those performances, and hell, even for the short time we saw Gerard Carmichael, he could have switched with Melton. Gerard is so fucking cool. I don't care. Just put him in every movie, just saying some like super depressing, nihilistic existentialism, and I'm there for it, because every time he's like, life don't matter, I'm like, man, maybe it don't matter. He just.
Speaking of which, we got a on the count of three reuniting here. I did love that.
Yeah.
As well, a movie that got painted dust as well. Yeah, exactly. Hang on. Okay, hold on. I thought Charles was phenomenal in the film. Let's see here. I didn't like May December. I didn't. I hated it actually. I love exactly. Yeah. Leo. I love Sterling K. Brown on this list as well. I love the fact that he's on this list.
And I will say, as most critics groups, I know we get caught up in like the big films. We get caught up in the things that are in theaters for long times, where the general audience is talking about these movies. But I think we do, like you said, with like On the Count of Three, we miss some of the smaller things. And
I love that movie so much.
Yeah, it's so, dude, that movie encapsulates the whole millennial mindset of like, what is our purpose? Like, this not, maybe this ain't shit. Maybe I don't want to be here no more. And then, oh man, you know what? I just had a bad day. You know what I mean? Like, that's our whole generation is like that. And it was so refreshing to see, but it don't get no love. And things like, you know, like Monica that I watched earlier in the year, the cinematography and the storytelling of that is so good, but the smaller ones never get the love they deserve. And it's really hard to convince, you know, a bunch of other critics that you don't know that well to go, hey, like, did you see this one movie though? And they're like, yeah, but like Barbie. And like, I get it, but like Barbie's gonna be there. This one might not be. You know, it's hard. It's tough to do, because we watch hundreds of movies, and out of those hundreds, at least, you know, 30 to 40 might be independent films that only, you know, a couple 100,000 people are going to see.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you 100% there, because there's a lot of films that always get kind of fall through the glass, and like 1001. Yeah, On the Count of Three is a film that I think about a lot. It's one of it's so good.
You think about the Roman Empire? No, I think about On the Count of Three
a lot. Supporting actress category. Emily Blunt, Oppenheimer. Danielle Brooks, The Color Purple. American Ferrari, Barbie. Jodie Foster, Nyad. Julianne Moore, May December. Divine Joy Randolph, The Holdovers. Surface level here. Very excited for America Ferrera. Again, brief amount of screen time on this film, but delivers probably one of the best monologues of 2023, and again, one of the most important films of 2023. Yeah. Just absolutely brilliant. Danielle Brooks belongs on. She, first off, let me put this to you just a little bluntly to everybody. If Danielle Brooks is not on your 5, if not in your 5, you might want to find a new job. Like, right. Okay, Danielle Brooks, I've never seen somebody like the life just sucked out of their character the way you do in The Color Purple. Mm-hmm. I've never in my life seen such a joyous and such a happy and such an outgoing and just outlandish, just, in my opinion, and this is just in real life, annoying ass person that always seems so damn happy. And then you just see everything completely sucked out of her, and go from delivering a fun and bright performance to just giving this nuanced and troubled and dark and almost thrown in the towel, a stone-faced look and heartbreaking performance of the year. Like, if she's not in your 5, then maybe reevaluate your life in this spot. But for me, who were my 3 again? Hang on. Supporting actress, Brooks. I had Brooks, Ferrera, and I actually had Blunt too. I think Blunt gives the best performance in What's Up, Man? What's up, bruh? For me, this is somebody that didn't. I thought The Holdovers was fine. Randolph's my favorite part of the film. Ferrari, fantastic, and Barbie. To me, this is a runaway. I'm not going to go in depth in this. I think this is Brooks. Brooks has my lock for my. I'll throw away the key. She's my pick here. What about you, Dom?
Yeah, I went all black on this this category. I got Divine Joy Randolph. I got Danielle Brooks, and I got Taraji P. Henson. The last 2 are both for The Color Purple. That was really easy for me to pick those. I do think that I'm very heavy leaning towards Brooks. Like, it's like, okay, if you watch many people who watch the original Color Purple, they love Oprah as Sophia, right? That's why Oprah got so much love playing that character. Okay. Look, Danielle Brooks kills Oprah and playing the same character. She is so good. There is like the same thing with like how I talked about Sterling. She has this certain charisma that is like a hug. It feels like it's a friend. And then once you watch her going through her trials and tribulations, you're like, why are you doing this to my friend? Like, you want to square up with somebody because she solidifies herself as somebody you want to root for very early on. And especially in a period piece where she is an outlier and a woman who's not gonna stay in a woman's place, so to speak. So yeah, I mean, she is so good. However, I can see people going heavy on America Ferrera because of that monologue. It is so good. I mean, that was, among other things, that was one of the things that stuck out to me from that film. So it could be tough for everybody else. It's not gonna be tough for me. I know who I want to vote for. But like Jodie, Julianne, okay, Emily Blunt. There was a certain scene that really was, oh man, Emily Blunt in this movie. But like some of those are the supporting part is in all bold letters, and Brooks is almost like that's part of this movie's hers. Like she ain't support nobody. Like, so yeah, I don't think this will be. It shouldn't be hard for most people. But I think Brooks should have it. If she don't, we're at the award show and she's there, me and her, we can tag team and we can start clotheslining some people.
Yeah, I definitely would have to have some conversations with people if Danielle Brooks doesn't win this.
If she don't win, I'm gonna audibly boo on TV, live TV. Boo.
All right. Definitely probably one of the most controversial categories of the day was provided here with Best Director. Some interesting choices here, but we'll list them off. Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Greta Gerwig for Barbie, Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things, Christopher Nolan Oppenheimer, Alexander Payne, The Holdovers, Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon. This to me, two of my three picks made it on the list, I think. Celine Song being the only one that didn't make it on my list. I don't know. This category to me is not as cut and dry personally. I do think Christopher Nolan's going to win. I don't think anybody else has a chance at winning. I do think that he's going to win the Oscar as well. I don't think anybody else has a chance at winning. But for me personally, I do feel like I do think Bradley Cooper should be in the conversation. I think Greta Gerwig should be in the conversation. And then, of course, Yorgos 1,000% belongs in this conversation for winner, in my personal opinion. I don't know where I'm going to go here yet. I do think that it's a tight battle between those four. Again, as with already having to rewatch Barbie and Poor Things and Maestro for the best actors, you're going to be watching these for the other categories as well. So, Dom, I'll let you take it away here. I don't know. Alexander Payne doesn't belong in this conversation. That's just me. Sorry. Good movie, not great direction. Scorsese, I know. Look, I love Scorsese. I do. He's one of my favorite directors, if not my favorite director of all time. Killers of the Flower Moon is not that for me. But Dom, where are you at on the best director race?
Yeah, it is. It is somewhat difficult. I do. So, like, I think when you think about like Maestro, what made the movie so great is because this is what you show to film students to say, like, this is how you make a film, right? When you think of like, this is immediately made me think of direction because the way things are done are in a meticulous way. It isn't overshadowed by a performance. Some of the stuff isn't overshadowed by the cinematography or the way that the score is. It's because the way things are set up, the way people are moving, the way someone holds a cigarette, and like it's just and even that. I mean, it's probably, I can't remember if it's on editing, but the way it's edited too is like it's done in such a specific way that if he continues this, Cooper lands himself in the auteur realm where he has a certain style. But again, Barbie's in the conversation and Greta's good, man. I think Greta is good because I think she's not afraid to take risks. And so she just tries things and they just work. And I think that's what is that's her thing. She's I don't want to say that it's willy-nilly, but I kind of feel like it's a throw the dart type of thing. And she's like, boom, I made it work. And that's hard. Yorgos, man, look, y'all just got to watch Poor Things. And you'll know like why we keep bringing it up. It's going to be difficult. Nolan, I mean, we all like Nolan, but I feel like there's so much going on that, I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's so much going on that you are not focusing on those moving pieces like you are with the others. But the way that we get this kind of fast-paced talkie that doesn't feel like talkie shouldn't feel the way that Oppenheimer felt, right? It should have felt slow and meticulous, and it didn't because of the direction. So yeah, it's gonna be a tough one. I don't know who I don't know. I have two maybe, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to like Christmas break this little. It's gonna be some rewatches because I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely a hard category. It really is. I mean, there's just a few that are like left off for me right off the bat, but there's definitely some hard conversations to be had. Let's see what we got here. Let's go through some of these. You stop me whenever you want me to talk about something. So we're not gonna go through every one of these. There is Maestro for editing, by the way, which is a brilliant editing obviously. Costume design, hair and makeup, some good picks there. Best visual effects. Oh wait, there we go.
Look, yeah, we gotta go to comedy.
I'm gonna let you have the floor for this.
So my only beef, and it's a big beef, with every single award show ever, damn near, when it comes, besides maybe like MTV or something, when it comes to comedy, when you ask the average viewer their favorite comedy, right? It's going to be the Seth Rogen films, the Adam Sandler films, the Judd Apatow films, things where we are laughing out loud for most of the film. Now, besides No Hard Feelings, and Bottoms, because those are very laugh out loud movies, a lot of the other ones are not what I would consider a comedy. Because if someone was like, if I asked somebody, I was like, oh man, what's your favorite comedy? And they're like, oh, American Fiction. I'd be like, I mean, it's like funny, but it's not like ha ha funny. It's like, oh, that's funny. Like, it's like, look at that interesting thing. I need this to, if nothing else, make a separate category and make it like lighthearted films, and then the comedy. I need like the laugh out loud movies on there. Like, I know Strays may not be the best movie, but did you laugh the whole fucking time? Yeah, damn right you did. And No Hard Feelings is one of those. It may not have been your favorite, but it's that's what it is. It's a laugh out loud comedy. Bottoms, same thing. I mean, I had one because I feel like this is the only place it might have fit that isn't quite the whole laugh out loud funny, but it is because it's so absurd. And that's They Clone Tyrone. That belongs on this somewhere in these fucking categories, and this is the one it should have been in. I also had what I had for comedy. I had Bottoms, and another one that's kind of absurd, but it's real, and that's why it's so absurd. Dumb Money. I think it should have got some love. If we're gonna have Poor Things, American Fiction, Barbie, already dominating everything else, they should have made some room for some other films that are actually that the average person would consider a comedy. So I don't know how to change that. I don't have the answer, but like it has to be done a little differently.
Yeah, for me, I agree with you. Like there's certain places that I feel like you can honor films that aren't going to get your picks in the bigger categories.
Yeah.
And in this particular, like Critics' Choice, like there's not many of those because there's like not like a best horror film no, there's not, right? No, it's just best comedy. I think the only one. But like I know they have like the super awards and stuff like that as well. Yeah. But like for me, like you have an opportunity in the comedy category to be different, to get away from the typical, like No Hard Feelings. I agree with you 100% belongs here, and Bottoms too. Everything else should be not on this list. And it's not to say that they're not funny, because they are funny, and they are some of the funnier movies of the year. But like give the opportunity to some other films that you don't always see getting the love. And I think that's something that I do agree with 100%. So
yeah, if you're going to the theater to laugh, you're not picking The Holdovers or American Fiction or Barbie. You're not picking these movies to go, I want to like fucking bust a gut You know what I mean? I want to laugh till I cry. That's not what those movies are doing. They're more of the matter, like, this is funny. Look at this kind of funny thing. And while they are considered comedies, it's not what I feel like the category should represent.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Let's go through this real quick. Best animated. Just happy to see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on there. That made me very happy. Best song, lots of Barbie. Very happy with that. Sorry, just let everybody know. Wish I Was Made For. What Was I Made For should win the Oscar.
It's winning everything.
It should win everything as it should. Yeah. Best score. I love Jerks and Fredericks. One fun fact about Jerks and Fredericks, that was his first composing of any film in his career. And it's one of the best. Yeah,
it fits so perfectly.
By the way, I know everybody loves Pemberton, but he doesn't belong there. That movie's not that good.
But Ludwig, that guy's a monster. He's hard to beat. He's hard to beat.
This does not. Sorry, I love Barbie, but that doesn't belong there. Sorry, I know. Score, I don't.
No,
I'm not a. I don't think score is in the conversation here. I don't think the one thing that I will say score wise, and we can wrap it up after score. Where's my score picks? The Killer. What's his name? David Fincher's The Killer belongs in this conversation. That was one of the best scores of the year. And Past Lives. Two scores that I felt like were in the conversation that didn't get any love that should have been. So, but yeah. Let's see here. I am going to stop sharing. Dom, tell the crowd of the world, what have you been watching lately that they can enjoy with you? That's not a screener. That's not award worthy. Or it might be award worthy, but you know what I mean.
Well, look, it's Christmas time. And with that said, especially with this weekend coming up, you got to watch, and we might have mentioned this before, but you got to watch one of the greatest Christmas films of all time, and that's Jingle All the Way. You got to get it in there. And if you haven't watched it, prepare yourself to have a new Christmas favorite. I love this film. Every Christmas time I watch it. Sometimes I watch it when it's not Christmas, and I'm not even. And if anybody that knows me knows that I'm not a super big Christmas guy, but this movie is so fun. I love Sinbad, and who knew pairing him with Arnold Schwarzenegger is like a match made in heaven. Like they're not supposed to work together, but neither was The Rock and Kevin Hart, and it works. So, and this could have been the first Rock and Kevin Hart, but they only did this one film. They should have done more, honestly. But yeah, the movie's great. And I think that, Ferrari's coming out this week. Go see Ferrari. There's some scenes in both of those movies that are gonna shatter you like to pieces. It's a big week. These next 2 weeks. These next 2 weeks is a lot of films coming out.
Let's see, Friday, Migration, The Iron Claw, Aquaman, Anyone But You, Poor Things opens wide. And then, of course, Christmas Day, you add Ferrari, Color Purple, and The Boy in the Boat. All come out in a 3-day time period. So,
I need something to do with the fam coming to town. You going to there? Pick one of these films, and then watch Jingle All the Way.
For sure. 2 things I want to shout out real quick. The first of which, The Family Plan dropped on Apple TV Plus. I thought it was fine. I didn't think it was great. Nothing groundbreaking. Easy to watch. Can watch with the teenagers. It's fun. Mark Wahlberg plays the perfect kick-ass dad. I mean, it's just a role that I feel like he's really formed into. And of course, if you are a fan of the series Reacher, it has returned on Prime Video for the first 3 episodes. It's running weekly. Really, really enjoyed the start of season 2.
I really enjoy Alan. Was it Alan Richardson?
Yeah, Richardson.
He seems like such a cool ass dude. I follow him on Instagram. And first off, if you didn't, you fell in love with him as Thad in Blue State. Dude, he's so good.
Yes,
and
sir.
That guy, he's jacked. And he's honestly a good actor. He's not just a swole guy. He's done a lot of things. And who like Reacher, he's the guy that every guy wants to be. You know, oh, you need some help? He's doing what? I'll be right back. What are you doing? You need backup? Backup. I got this. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like that dude. He's that dude.
He is. I love him. So if you haven't checked that stuff out, we will be back probably next week with some more fun things. We got a couple of screeners coming out this week. That should be fun as well. Make sure to give us a follow over on the Twitter. You can find that in the podcast notes here. But until next time, we will talk to you guys later.
Peace.